essence with those attendees who are present, and really talk about this broker tab, that super user access that you receive as a member benefit from the Montgomery Association of Realtors. To make items global for the agents in your office, to generate content, transaction templates, document templates, activity plans. Create these items, make them global for everybody in the office to use, to start their files, to manage the sale process, to upload required documents, to complete required tasks. As the super user, you have the functionality to generate the features of the file that you need or require or make mandatory for your agents to use and upload and maintain and retain. So it really gives you that visibility into the office, super user access, this broker tab. So not only can you create that content, but then you can also review it. You can review transaction files. You have access to all of the transaction files being generated in the single office or the multiple offices that you manage. And those are the features that we're going to focus on today. Just to get started, pardon my mouse just for a moment as I collapse that go-to training sidebar. Remember, you can type questions using the chat section of that go-to training sidebar. If that had already collapsed against the right-hand side of your screen, that little red block with a white arrow, it's typically in the top right corner of the computer screen, red block with white arrow, you click there, it expands that sidebar, and there's sections, one being chat, and you can type your questions as we go through. But just want to make sure I'm consistent with this. May be the first time you've seen the member benefit transaction desk. We are looking at the pro view of TransactionDesk, and from a broker tool standpoint, from a super user standpoint, you really want to get to know the pro. This is really where all of the broker functionality, running reports, and your visibility to switch into agents' accounts, and these features really offer the most here, the most robust features here in the pro view. And I say the pro, top left-hand side of the screen, top third, top left, TransactionDesk Pro, as opposed to the top right-hand side of the screen where it says TransactionDesk Lite. Same exact account, just a different view. Lite is less is more. So being a less is more approach, there's just less broker functionality. You can create some content for your agents to use and so forth, but it doesn't give you all the visibility that you get in the pro view. So we are focusing on the pro. If you're a super user, you really do want to get to know the pro and the doc box and these management features, because it really can help you manage the sale files online. It really does have an opportunity to generate paperless files, type up forms online, retain documents in those transaction files, complete tasks, and submit third-party provider requests right through your online transaction files. Yourself and your agents have that opportunity. So first things first, just want to point out the tab. I'm going to click over to the MLS. Just want to make sure everyone is comfortable and knows where to log in from. We do have multiple logins, but the one that's hopefully going to be very convenient for you is the login integration we have with your MLS account. So you see I'm in a listed MLS account. I'm looking actually at the kind of a search return because there's a couple integrations I want to point out. Tools. Under the Tools tab, I'm in the top third of the screen, really in the center under the Tools tab. You're now going to have an additional feature called Instant Forms. We call this the single sign-on, because once you have logged in successfully to your MLS account, you will have direct and immediate access to your Instant Forms or TransactionDesk account. Think of TransactionDesk as the umbrella. Under that umbrella, there's Instant Forms, DocBox, Tasks, Authentisign. So we have all of these transaction management features. So Instant Forms, is that what we're again, single sign-on. You click here on Instant Forms, you are logged directly in to your TransactionDesk broker account. And this is where when I talk about that member type, this is where that detail is passed to us. When you click here, it's going to pass us that detail. So that member type, that appropriate member type for the super user needs to be set up here at the MLS level and at the board level. But that's the one access point for single sign-on. The second that we offer currently is what we call a one-click transaction. And I'm sliding over. I'm in the top third of the screen, top right corner. I'm going to talk about these links. There's another one now. If Never noticed these links before? Let me point them out to you. These H, T, and I don't know what H stands for, but T, my guess, is taxes, and I is for Instinet. This is what we call a one-click transaction. If yourself or an agent were to click here on this I link, 3 things happen. The first, you are automatically logged into your TransactionDesk account. The second, a new transaction file is created in that in your account, and the third is that new file will be populated with the address, city, state, zip, legal description, details of that MLS. So those are the two nice integrations there. I was informed that H typically stands for the property history, so that's what the H is for. But I is the one we want to talk about for Instinet, one-click transaction. Start a new file, populate that file with MLS detail. We'll show other integrations where you can import property information too. So probably the most important to get started, if it's an essential, tools, log in using the Instinet forms. This same link is also in the toolbar or dashboard on the left-hand column. If you follow me down to the lower third of the page, lower left corner, bottom left corner, Instinet forms. We're down in that sidebar toolbar as well. Single sign-on, because when you click there, you will be automatically logged in to your TransactionDesk account. You'll go right through there. The first time you log in, you're going to go through some terms of service and a pre-flight system check. We're going to skip those. We got a lot of detail to cover here, just because there's actually just a lot of things that you can do within your broker account. The majority of those global items are found here in the Broker tab. Top third of the page, Broker tab, top line of tabs. That's where I'm going to click now. Clicking on that Broker tab, so you can start to see. Now, just like probably any rule, there's the exception. This is where the majority of the broker tools are. There's a couple under the Settings tab that we're going to take a look at as well. We'll look at those at the last third of the session. We're going to take a look at the Broker tab this third, and then the Settings tab, probably the final third. Dashboard on the left. Features of TransactionDesk that you can make global for all the agents in your office to see and use and access. Top left, activity plans. I'm just going to do a cursory chat of each one first, and then maybe drill into a couple that you want to generate content. First is activity plans. So this is, you have that office checklist that you use already, right? It's the new seller checklist, and there's 10 or 12 items that need to be completed throughout the sale process. That's what the activity plan is. The activity plan would be that new seller checklist. Those 10 or 12 items that need to be completed, we refer to those as task templates. So you have that opportunity to replicate those workflow requirements within your TransactionDesk account. You can then make those requirements available to your agents. And we're going to see that as we go through, because of the final few minutes, we're actually going to start a file and from an agent's perspective, to be able to see the content that you have the opportunity to add. So activity plans, we'll come back and then generate some content for activity plans. Clauses, title, contents, save. So I'm not really going to go through the steps. It's too easy. I have too much respect for your intelligence to have to show you the steps to create a clause. But it's standard language, standard provisions. If you don't want your agents guessing at that particular clause they're supposed to use in that specific sales situation, you type it up. You create it for them. They can then access that clause through their forms editor when they are typing up contracts. They can access the clause that you created for them. Quick start groups, groups of forms that you can group together. So maybe just sticking with that listing. Maybe this will be a nice listing session. What forms may you want to group together when you have that new single-family residential listing? Quick start groups allow you to do that. They allow you to associate forms together, put them in groups, quickly add that group of forms either automatically or manually to transaction files. Document templates is a way that you can define mandatory documents that your agents are going to be required to re-upload back into their online transaction file. They type up the listing agreement. That's great. It doesn't really mean much until it's signed, right, and executed. Same thing with that seller's disclosure. These are forms and contracts that are great that they can type them up, but we need to retain the signed, ratified copy. So those document templates, you can make that mandatory. If you have a single-family residential, you need to re-upload the signed listing contract. You need to re-upload the signed, completed seller's disclosure. You need to upload the loan payoff amount. You can determine what documents are mandatory, and there's a whole review process as well. That we're going to try to cover as much as we can. But document templates. Contacts, again, make them global. You add them to your account. If there's a particular person or that you want their number to be available to every one of your agents, you add it here. It will show up in the contact database for every agent affiliated with your office. So these really are just that, universal. When you create that service provider, although these probably won't be as required because I think we've populated that with all of your affiliate members. So you may have some additional that you want to add in for your agents to access. That's where you do that here. I'm going to come back to custom types. This is content, and we'll do it right here. This is content that you can add to the drop-down menus within the agent's accounts for property types, or transaction types, or transaction statuses. And we are going to look at that one in just a more moment. But there's the transaction status. So if you have sale phases that you go through and you want your agents to update their files with particular transaction statuses from open to under contract or pending review, or if you have these status types to mirror that sale phase, you can generate that content. Reporting is the opportunity to run reports for transaction files, for tasks, for appointments, for documents marked ready for review. So there's all these features under the reporting so that you can see the files online. You can manage that sale process from the beginning, having your agents start off their files with the required forms, document placeholders, activity plans, and then you can run reports to verify that they are meeting those expectations. You can switch right into an agent's account. So if you need to review their file, or if there's any reason why you would want to direct access an agent's account, you can switch right into it. General settings, if you use Lone Wolf back office accounting software, we have integrations with Lone Wolf back office accounting that you can link the two accounts together to export transaction details to their accounting software for commissions and taxes and required real estate accounting. Lone Wolf back office. Authentisign templates would come into play if you had custom office forms, and Authentisign digital signatures, you can actually template or plot the signature and initial requirements for your custom forms, and then they will auto-plot when you create signings for those typed up forms. So that's the list. Going back up, we're going to start with custom types because I actually want to generate some custom types. Specifically for our documents, so appointment types, contact types, property types, task types. So these are all the content. These are all drop-down windows within those little upside-down triangles, and I would like to use those drop-down menus. These are the types that you can generate content for. The one we're going to focus on is a document type, because a document type is what we can add to our document templates. So if there's a specific document that you're going to require your agent to re-upload back into their online file, here's where you can give that document type placeholder a name. So we have a few system values here. It could be appraisal that you're requiring back. It could be the home inspection. Just some generic features. But I would like to, and we're just going to go through and add a document type. And I'm just going to add a signed to it. For this one, again, sticking with that listing, maybe it's called the signed listing agreement. Or I'll go this way. Listing agreement signed. Something like that. Set dynamically. Still trying to follow up with the developers to see what exactly they meant by that, but we'll just roll with it for now. So what other documents would be required? for a new listing to be re-uploaded back into our transaction file for long-term retention. Listing agreement, absolutely. There is a disclosure there, but let me just do it one more time. Clicking on that go arrow, I'm going to add this document type, and we'll call it the seller's. I think I can put an asterisk there. Disclosure signed. And again, I'm just typing them one way. This is just my example. Please just name the type. And because it's S, it's in that other 5 on the other side. But just name it the way your agents are going to identify it, or a way that you're going to identify that that is a required document that's going to be needed to be re-uploaded. But again, these are types. So I wanted to show the example of how you can add these types. So maybe there was a different type of transaction. Let me just click on that one just to show you another example within types, but not one to spend too much time. Right now, system values, residential, lease, listing, and sale. These are the types of transactions. My guess is that there's probably more transaction types than that within your real estate community. You know, there's going to be land and lot. There's going to be farm and ranch, I don't know. There's probably additional condominium, townhouses, things like that. There's going to be additional transaction types that you may want to add. You add it here, your agents see it in their drop-down menus. That's what the custom types. We can add a contact. Just going to go right up, skipping providers. So let me just show you the list, I guess, clicking on service providers just so you know that they're here. They've all been added. All of your affiliate members have been added. But if you would like to, I would like to add a new service provider. If there's someone that you work with that's not an affiliate member, you certainly can add your custom values as well. Contacts. Maybe there's a loan officer or there's a lawyer that you have on speed dial that you would like your agents to have access to. I would like to add a new contact and just give them a name, give them contact. I'm just going to, or lender, or somebody like that. They might be affiliate members. I apologize if they are, but I'm just going to call mine Jason Loan Shark, something like that. Jason Sharkey. There we go. Spouse's name, contact. There's some tabs. I'm in the top third, or kind of shading to the middle third. Tabs, general information, home address, work address, additional information, whatever content that you want to add. Probably want to add a phone number. I think that's under the work address. We'd add that work phone so that they can contact that person to get loan approvals and so forth. General information, maybe that email address. We'll just pop it in there real quick and save that contact. Bottom right corner, bottom third, bottom right, save contact. Your agents can now see those contacts. You add them here, everybody sees them. Continuing to move up the dashboard. Again, I just typically refer to these menu items, these columns, as the dashboard for this page. Document templates. Opportunity to generate requirements for your agents, mandatory documents or documents that you're expecting to be uploaded. The first thing that you need to do to activate this broker file is check the checkbox. Top left corner, kind of middle third. Activate broker file review functionality. Are you an office manager? Are you transaction coordinator? Choose staff. Are you the designated realtor, broker? Choose broker. Determine which would best suit your super user type. Checkbox by default, yes, send document ready for review notification. So when your agents check that, I'm going to go with staff here, check that their documents are ready for review, you're going to get an email notification. Not only will that document show up in the review report, but it will also be emailed that that document has been made ready. Save settings. Middle third, right-hand side, save those settings. That I am activating the functionality, I am the super user, transaction coordinator, office manager, office staff, and yes, send document ready for review notifications. Now we definitely want to create a new document template. Going to click here on the go arrow. I would like to create new document template. Hopefully that I would like to phrase is becoming very familiar to you. Template name, and we're going to call it what? The single family residential listing docs template, something like that. Again, free form text. You name it, you give it the description. That's going to help you identify it, help your agents identify it. Automatically, and this is, do you want to automatically add this template to a particular type of transaction? If so, residential listing would be the one to add it to. Here's the most important step. Allow others to copy. If this is the setting, anytime your agent started a residential listing transaction file, this document template would be automatically included. That's the way we have it set up now. I'm going to hold off on the automatically add. I'm a huge fan of transaction templates, and I'm going to show you how you can add these templates, your activity plans, your document templates, your quick start groups, how you can combine all of these into one transaction template, and your agents start their files from those templates. That's just, so this is all building process, but if you want to link it here, you certainly can to that transaction type, and I'm going to save that document template. I'm saying I'm going to take all these and add them to one transaction template, and the agent can start from that. And it just gives us a little bit more functionality. So now we want to add our placeholders. I'm in the bottom third of the screen. I would like to add a document placeholder because we've given it a name. We've kind of set some of the values for the document templates. Now we're actually going to add those placeholders. These are really the most important feature of the template. Which ones we want to add? Well, I definitely want to add the listing agreement signed. Definitely going to require that. That is a mandatory document. Staff will review that. Maybe the broker should review that one. It could be both. You could have both be selected reviewers, whoever's the appropriate reviewer. Are there going to be signature requirements? Yes, the seller should have signed that, and the listing agent should have signed that. So when I review it, I'm going to be reviewing it for signatures and initials from the seller and the listing agent. So does the listing broker also have signature requirements? Usually the agent is going to sign. But if there are, add them in. If not, add document placeholder. And that's all we're adding is this placeholder, so the agent knows that when they start their file, they see that placeholder. That's where they're going to add the document back. So let's add one more. I would like to add document placeholder. Click on the go arrow. Again, and that signed seller's disclosure will be next. Item name here at the top of the pop-up. One reason to allow pop-ups from TransactionDesk. Seller's disclosure signed. It is going to be mandatory. That one can be reviewed by staff. There is going to be requirements for seller to get started. There will probably be requirements for both signatures at some point through that sale process, but right now this one will be the seller signed disclosure. Adding document placeholder. Go through, add the documents, maybe one more. All right, you talked me into it. Because they can also be non-mandatory as well. Maybe you do like to have a copy of the survey. Staff can review that it came in. Anybody going to need to sign that? Probably not, but we'll just add that one in. Again, just a placeholder. Is it mandatory? No, but it could be nice to have. It's going to maybe require it to get financing or other requirements for that. So just different ways to add the documents that you want your agents to reload back up into their online file. So that's document templates. Back looking at the dashboard, top third, left-hand side of the screen, moving up to quick start groups. And quick start groups, to me, honestly, I use them more for forms that aren't used all the time, like a lead-based paint packet or a mandatory homeowners association packet. To me, that's where the quick start groups, because I'm a proponent of templates. So that's why I don't really put too much emphasis on quick start groups, other than they're a really nice way to add a group of forms quickly and easily. So I would like to create a new quick start group. So with that in mind, could it be a single family template? Sure it could. Or a quick start group or single family listing group packet? Sure it could. But I'm going to add those forms in a different way. I'm going to do a lead-based paint packet. I am going to allow others to copy it. This is to get it into the accounts of your agents, and I'm going to click here to save the quick start group. But again, you can create the packets. You can automatically associate them with particular transaction types. I would like to add some forms to this quick start group. So in this instance, it's going to be what forms will be required when I have that home built before 1978. There's going to be some additional disclosures. There's the disclosure. So grab that one. Bet you there's some more in here. No, definitely that one. Addendum. Let me just pick a few just so you can see the press and hold the control key. I'm going to press and hold the control key down to select different forms. Let's pick that checklist and the recad. Pressing and holding the control key on the keyboard allows me to select multiple forms from that list. Add selected forms. So when you come into that sales situation, you need to add some additional forms. You can quickly add them in by that type of quick start group. Scrolling down a little bit, bottom right corner, going to save that quick start group. Now I have a lead-based paint packet. Anytime my agent has that sales situation, they can quickly add that set of forms to their transaction file. Quick start groups. Clauses, skipping, activity plans. Because, in some folks, you really do manage by document, like we just saw document templates and required and mandatory documents that I need to have. Some of you manage by task. The task needs to be completed, or a combination of both, really, I think. There's the documents that are required, but there's also tasks that need to be completed. You need to open title. You need to, in terms of a new listing, probably get yard signs, get pictures. There's a list of to-dos that need to be completed. So let's take a look at a template or an activity plan first. I'm just going to click on here just because it's the top and I don't feel like going through looking for them. So the activity plan is the buyer prospect. That is the activity plan. The items or to-do lists within that plan: add transaction participants, pre-qualification letter, thank you call, fill out contracts, so forth. So these each individual items are the task templates. So what does this all mean? It means that you first need to create the task template. I'm in the top third of the screen, left-hand side, top of the dashboard. So that is the activity. What we are looking at right now is the plan. What we want to create is the templates so we can then add them all to a plan. Clicking on task templates. I would like to create a new. So we have 70 in here right now. So you can certainly go through and see if there are any that would be of value. If you have your list and you just want to go right off your list, create a new task template, click on the Go arrow. And I'm going to, so it shows up at the top of our list. I'm just going to put an A here at the front, and we'll call it the final walkthrough. Something like that. Is that a task? Got to schedule that with the listing agent. Maybe I should do something that is listing. Task name would be, we'll do yard sign, or lockbox, MLS photos, and lockbox. How about that? We'll combine them for that single-family residential. And like I said, I'm going to put an A in the front so it shows up at the top of that alphabetical order. Priority. Is there a priority? I don't know. They all seem pretty important to me. Is there a particular type? Is there a particular due date? Now, not really, because remember, this is a template that we're going to use over and over and over again. We are going to be able to attach this task template to about any transaction file. So, but we do want to give it a type of due date. It is going to be due a certain number of days. Here in Austin, I believe that it's 48 hours from the day that it's listed to you have to have a photo on file. So we're going to say it must be completed 2 days on, before, or after in this case, the list date. So that when my transaction file, or when my agent's transaction file, when they add a list date, this due date is going to be automatically generated for this new client. It's going to give us the opportunity there to attach this task to that milestone date within the transaction file. Certainly want to have a reminder sent out a day before, so it gives them a day reminder that it's due in a day. And we're going to automatically assign this task to the listing agent. in this example. Whomever would be the appropriate party to take those photos and put in that yard sign and lockbox, put those person as the transaction type. Allow others to copy this template. Starting to see a trend with that phrase and that checkbox? Hang on to it because we're going to see it more. Save task template. You create the templates. Then you add them to the activity plan. So go through your checklist and create a task template for each bullet item or each to-do item on that list. And now we'll make the list. Top corner of the left-hand side, activity plans. Create a new activity plan. Now I've got my tasks. Now I'm going to add them to the plan. And the plan is the single-family residential listing setup. I don't know. Lack of creativity. Do I want to automatically assign it to a particular transaction type? Make that determination. Allow others to copy it. Save activity plan. You may be asking yourself, well, what's the difference? We create all this content, and I could have, so my agent could just start a residential listing, and all these features will be automatically attached. And you can do that. I mean, there's no question that is a very reasonable way to set these up and automatically attach to a particular transaction type. I would ask you to just hold off because I'm going to take all these now, and we're going to go over and we're going to create a transaction template. What I like more about the transaction template is the forms. The forms are more dynamic. Not only can you add forms, but you can fill them out, and you can add customary content, and you can just add more to the full transaction template than just each one of these standalone features. So sorry for that aside. We are now adding task templates to our activity plan. There is the MLS photos and lockbox that we created. And we will add a few of these after 30 days, reduce and rewrite 90 days. Those really aren't the best to have at the top, but we don't want to be thinking about reducing and rewriting. Show all activity items so we can see all of the templates. We'll have to recheck our boxes. There we go. The 10 closing, yeah, that's kind of a pretty call seller every 7 days, not bad. Go through. You've generated yours, find them, and add them to your activity plan. All right, I'm just going to quickly scroll to the bottom of the page here to import. Grab one more, utility information. Import task templates. We now created our plan. We generated the workflow items, task template workflow items. We created those. We then set up the activity plan and imported those features, task templates into our plan. All the while generating this content, and it's going to be visible to the agents in our office. All of these features in the dashboard are now visible to the agents in our office. So that's the broker tab. And like I said, this is and we try to come back here to look at the reporting feature at the end of the session here. But I want to now go from the broker tab in the top center, top third of the screen, top center, broker tab, leapfrog home and desktop, and click on settings. Going to settings now. We're going to look at the final two features, content that you can add. First one, bottom left corner of the screen. Branding. You can brand the outbound correspondence, all of the email messages and fax back cover sheets. Clicking here on continue, bottom left corner branding, clicking on continue. You can add this content. Banner. This one is the banner logo, the header, if you will, the header of email messages, the header of those fax back cover sheets. When you click here on change banner, it's going to give you the opportunity to upload that. Banner size, just so you know the size of this, 125 pixels tall by 800 pixels wide. And the closer you can get to that, just the better it's going to look. Otherwise, it tends to stretch or scrunch it to fit in that space. So you want to try to get to that 800 by 125 or as close as you can get. You just click the plus sign. You know where it's stored, where you have that stock logo saved on your desktop or laptop or shared network drive. Add it in. what I want to focus on here is this checkbox. Allow agents to upload their own logo to replace this one. So it's a little bit counterintuitive, I think. As is, if you do not check it, agents will not be able to replace the logo. If you allow branding, teams allow teams to brand within your office. If you want to give them the opportunity to replace, you can check that checkbox. The agent could upload a document to replace or upload a banner logo to replace the one in their TransactionDesk account. Only theirs. If they don't, it would just be yours. You could give them the option, but if they never took the option, then your logo would remain the default logo. So it really is up to you. If you allow teams or others to create and brand themselves, then you can allow them to upload their own. If not, even if you do, the folks, your branding will be the default. You can add that one, and you can add the logo. Bottom left corner, you can also little smaller logo. I think it's 125 by 125. This particularly brands the 150 by 150. This brands participant websites. That's where you will find this logo on the participant websites that can be created from transaction files. So branding, whoops, settings tab, I hit the back button. Don't do that. Don't hit the back button. That's the branding. Photos, logos to brand that outbound correspondence. Here's now I want to talk about transaction templates. Clicking here on continue. Create the template. Template the entire file. Let me just do a quick look so you can see what it is first, and then we'll go through the steps to create it, and I guess just why I think it's a little bit more robust than the actual other items. Not too much added to this one yet, but forms. Forms are really the big difference, the big differentiator. Not only are the forms here, but we can actually type up the forms. So you can type up your listing agreements for your agents. You can get all that common and core and wanted content in there. So you can add all of the features, tasks, document templates, contact placeholders. You can add all of the transaction features to your templates. So let's do that now. Moving forward here, time is of the essence. We're creeping into that final third. Back to the settings tab so that I can click on transaction templates. This should go pretty quickly because we've already set up a lot of this content that we want to add to this template. I would like to create a new transaction template. Click on go. We'll give our transaction template a name, and I will stick with that single family residential listing prospect. We will choose a type of transaction, but we're going to keep it real generic or real to the core features, in my opinion. Again, whatever you want added to your agent's new file, we're going to add in during the template here. We could even populate it from a template. If you've created a listing template and you want to create the condo template and the lot and land, and they're basically the same, you can leverage one to start the other and just make some changes. I would like to share this template with my agents. That is the key. You don't have to do it here. I'll show you where you can from within the file, the transaction template as well, but for this example we will. You know what? I'm going to opt out of the wizard. I just don't think we need to use it for this purpose. So I'm going to opt out. We're going to go right to that transaction overview. Now, you know what? Let's use it. And we're going to, I'm going to choose neither here. We're not going to identify ourselves on the template. The agent is going to add us in when they start their file, and we're going to see that as moving forward here. We're going to get to that agent starting from our template. Populate, and we're going to add templates. We gave it a name. Transaction name, transaction type. I would like to share with my agents. Choose neither for adding contacts. I'm going to add that template. Pop-up message, thinking about the transaction file as a replacement for that manila folder. If you read it, maybe you've even clicked over here to not show it again. I would suggest read it one time to get a sense of the wizard and creating a transaction file, but then subsequently not sure you need it to pop up every time. First page here, details. not really requirements, no templated items, I don't think. Because you have the MLS integrations, you're going to be importing property information, address, city, state, zip. This is going to be very file specific. Property details is not template, it is file specific. I am going to add a contact. I'm going to click here on the go arrow to add a contact type predominantly, because we're not starting a file if a seller doesn't call in. If there isn't a phone duty call, or the agent got a referral, agent got some marketing response, bottom right corner clicking on continue, transaction contact type seller, continue. So we want to add, in my opinion at least, we want to add at least one seller contact type. And I just type in update with, seller name. Save contact information. Saving the agent clicks, saving time, saving energy, saving effort. When they start their file from the template, they're going to see the contact name and type. So the seller type is already there. All they have to do is update that with their seller's name. I just add one because you never know if there's going to be 2, 3, or 10. Otherwise, clicking next in the top right corner there, top third right side. Here's where we want to add our forms. I would like to add new forms. Click on the go arrow. And this is why we're going to show you two things. One, where you can access those quick start groups. Create the quick start group. You'll always have access to here. When you're in files and you're looking to add forms to the files, you'll see those quick start groups. Your agents will see those quick start groups. Let's go with, yes, there's typically always an addendum, exclusive right to sell, pressing and holding the control key down. Remember, I created the lead-based paint packet, confidential owner request. Not sure. I'm going to skip that one. Pending property information checklist. Why not? Seller estimated net proceeds. I think that looks good. Add selected forms to my transaction template. Again, I'm more of a minimalist, so I just typically will add the ones I know I'm going to need. We can come back, your agent can come back and add more forms that are client-specific or property-specific. You definitely just want to get the ones on there that you know are going to be requirements. Clicking on Next. Those core forms that you're going to require your agents to use each time. I would like to upload a document. Maybe not to say that might not be the document like that you think, but I think I messed up. So let me back up for a second. Cancel. I would like to drop-down menu. That's what I meant to hit. Drop-down menu. I want to add documents. Clicking that feature. Clicking on the go arrow, because this is where I can access documents that I've saved, but also my document templates. So I can add that document template to my transaction template. And I'm going to import that selected. If there's any other documents, think of other documents. What else? Maybe home service warranty contracts or other seller-related documents. Basically anything that you cannot find in the forms library, anything you can't find in the forms library, you can upload as a document. So we can add real documents, but we can also add these document placeholders, the document template that we created for required uploaded documents. Clicking on Next. Tasks. I'm going to import an activity plan. I'm in the bottom third center of the screen, import activity plans. We created an activity plan. Now we want to add that to our, clicking here to show them all, because we created that single family, which will be at the bottom, be my guess. But again, these are other ones that we've created, and you can use them. You can leverage them as you see fit. You can see we even have a single family residential new listing as a system value. Import the activity plan. We're getting all of the features together into one template. We can manage this one template. We could update it, and we could take appropriate steps to manage it. Saving and exiting. Exiting from the wizard, completing this transaction template. Phase 1, I would say. Phase 1. Because here it is, single family listing prospect. Because is that all we can do for our template? No, no, it's not. There is one additional step that we can take, clicking back into the template name. Hopefully this reemphasizes that you can come back to it at any time, add to it, update it, revise it. Speaking of revisions, if forms are ever updated, if you get a new exclusive right to sell form from the association or state, your templates will be automatically updated with those form revisions. So the only thing you might want to do is come and change how it's typed up. But I'm going to click here on the form name to launch this form in Forms Editor, because we can go through and add customary features of our forms, especially in your listing agreements, your agency agreements. They may be very similar client to client to client. The only thing that was most likely going to be different is the name and the property address. Otherwise, they may be very consistent with what these contracts should be typed up. I'm in the top third of the screen, kind of middle right side, that little minus sign and that by the column. Here are the forms that we've added so far. I just want to shrink that column against the right-hand side of the screen so I can see the form I'm working on. So, right, dates, things like that, very specific to the file. Owner agrees to transfer. It could be type. We're just going to add it in anyway. Type to add any standard provisions or language. Go through. Do you have a particular fee that you typically charge? Do you have a particular number of days after the termination of the agreement? Go through. Fill out these very customary features. Owner represents, seating as follows, not sure, but again, I'm just trying to be quick about it. Type or paste to add details. Create form templates within your transaction templates. Don't take it for granted that your agent is going to type it for you. You can type it for them. Save your changes. Top left-hand side of the screen, top third, top left, saving the changes. Go through each form. Type up any customary features. You might think, well, contracts and so forth don't have customary features, but they can. In Austin, it's very customary for the seller to pay for any title policy, for a buyer to pay for any survey. So on my contract, I could certainly feel comfortable putting that in as a templated feature. Exit from Form Editor. But that is, to me, the additional values of using a transaction template to template the entire process, not just the individual items. We definitely we definitely benefited from creating each of them so we could quickly add them here, but just a little bit more robust way for your agents to start files. So that's under the Settings tab. We're still doing okay. About 10 minutes left here in our hour session. I'm going to go back to the Broker tab. Now we want to switch. I'm going to show you a couple of these fancy features. First, let me just point out reporting before I'm in the dashboard. Kind of just the middle third, left-hand column, clicking on reporting. So you can come back and you can run reports or find out who's logging in and how often. See the transaction files. Mandatory documents. The broker file review report is for those documents as they're marked ready for review. Appointments, so you can see what's upcoming. Tasks to see what is upcoming tasks, pending, overdue, or past due. So you can generate reports to see the specific features and content from within all of the agent's transaction files. So that's a nice, robust reporting feature to be able to manage all those files. What we're going to do at this moment is switch accounts. Just below the reporting in the dashboard to switch account. So we've been in the broker, and I'm going to switch into my agent's account and click on Go. Because this is really what it'll look like for the agent when they go to start their file. I'm going to try to quickly here go through starting a file. And showing you where all the access points of the data and content that you've added. And they can access this, just to be clear. Your template can be accessed both in the light view or the pro view. So if your agent is working in pro, they can see it. If your agent is working in light, they can see it. So it gives you that broad coverage for all the different views for all your agents. For this example, I'm just going to click right here to start a new transaction, right center of the screen, start new transaction. For your agent to access the template that you created from the start page, right now the blue circle is by new transaction. All we need to do is instead, as I slide down the left-hand side, select Populate from a transaction template. They select that feature, they will be able to see the templates that you have created for them to use. So they would just name their file, right? They've got a new prospect. They've got the call, the phone duty, the referral. So it's going to be, have I used Sam already? We're going to use him, Sam Solar. And maybe it's just a prospect at this point, right? Or however you like them to name their files. This is your agent starting a new file for that new prospect or contact. I'm just going to put a prospect here. Template, yes. If he had created 5, they would see 5. Should we use the wizard, or should we just go right to the transaction? Or let's just go right to the overview. Time is of the essence. Going right to the overview. This is where the agent identifies themselves as the listing agent. Broker will be added in as the listing broker, just in case it's something different. Maybe it's still neither, maybe it's both in this situation. So you want to give them that opportunity to determine that here when they're starting a file. So we're starting a file. We first switched to the view, populate from a template, gave a name, chose the template, right to the overview as the listing agent, clicking Start Transaction. So when the agent starts their transaction file, all of that content of the template will be automatically added in. Now we'll be able to see the contact points where they can access the additional content that we added, the clauses that we added, the clauses we added, the contacts that we added, the other content that we added into our transaction file. Hold on for me here for just a moment. Good time for questions. If you have any questions, be a good time to type those in using the chat section of the GoTo Trading sidebar. Getting back to that overview page. And we're going to point out all of those points within content that we added. All right. So our file was set up. The forms, check. Tasks, check. Contacts and participants, us as the broker, agent as the agent. Update with seller name. So maybe we'll start there. Update with seller. Clicking there in the bottom third, bottom left, updates with seller name. Again, whatever you decide is a better term there. Maybe it's just placeholder or something like that. But I can save my agent time by adding that content in there. And they can go through and add whatever they have, phone numbers, email addresses. Again, we are now file specific. The template's done. The template's used. The template is no longer affected by any changes that we make because this is our new transaction file for our new prospect or client. And add Sam to my contact database. And I'm going to click on Save Contacts. Let's do one more. Let me go in just so you can see. I'm just going to click back on Sam's name. So when they are adding their contacts, or I'm just going to show the contacts, insert them in the top third, top right-hand side, insert from contacts, contact database. You created Sharky, and Sharky can be found within the agent's contacts. You created the content. You made it available to them. So that was, let's go now to the forms. Dashboard on the left, clicking on Instinet Forms. Forms that we've had that we added to our template, added in. If they need to add more, I would like to add new forms. Click on the Go arrow. Just to show that the Quick Start group that you set up is now visible to them here when they're adding additional forms to their transaction files. They can access the Quick Start groups that you set up. They can also add from the forms library. Whoops. But they absolutely have access to the quick start groups that we created. This house been identified that was built before 1978. I'm going to need that additional. Just to show exclusive right to sell listing agreement, clicking on that form name, I just want to show that the content that we added to our template has pre-filled the forms and contracts. Now, they can also autofill from their transaction file. So if you combine what they can autofill from their file in terms of address, city, state, zip, legal descriptions, things like that, plus the details that you added as part of the template. Now, if it's different, maybe 120 is not the appropriate number for this one, it's 90. They can change it. They can take the opportunity to change that. So it's not locked in, but you are setting the guidelines. You're going to see history if they changed it. Why did you remove that provision? It's captured in the form history and the transaction history, any changes that they make, any updates that are made from this point forward. So you could go through and check all these check boxes and prepare those forms in a way that's going to reduce time, energy, and effort, reduce redundant entry, reduce errors and omissions, and all those positives by creating those form templates within your transaction templates. Exiting from form editor. So we've looked at contacts and participants, and we updated our seller contact with Sam. We just looked at our forms. So let's look at our documents. Clicking here on the documents, these are the placeholders. This is where the agent, when they receive that signed listing agreement, can upload it right to that placeholder. When they upload it right to that signed seller's disclosure. I would like to drop-down menu. That's when they can mark it ready for review. That's when the staff member, the staff super user or the broker super user is emailed. That has now been marked ready for review. You can access it through the broker file review report from your online account. One thing I didn't show you when we were in Forms Editor was the clause, the insert clause. That feature is there. So lots of features, but we are at that hour mark. I think we got through the majority of the content setup. We do offer additional sessions for more to see the workflow of the broker compliance, to see the email exchanges, to see marking documents as reviewed and complete or incomplete and resend back to the agent because they missed a signature or initial requirement that they need to go and complete. All those opportunities to manage that sale process through these web-based applications. So with that said, again, I just want to be very mindful of everybody's time. I am going to go back to the broker tab. I'm going to re-raise this audio message. I'm going to put another feeler out there for any questions, comments, general observations. Maybe the best place to start is if you really are interested, and this was kind of a good way to get the thought process moving on what you can really do. If you'd like to schedule a follow-up session specifically for your office staff, and you want to discuss implementation strategies, we offer those follow-up sessions. They're free. They're tailored exactly to the content that you want to cover and the time you want to cover it in. They're interactive so that we can talk and discuss and really work through setting up the workflow for your office to manage the sale process online. If you have general questions, comments, Webinars and Internet Solutions is a great email address for that, because sometimes you just don't know until you get in there and start driving around and figure out what you don't know. And then you can let us give us an email with those questions, and we will follow up timely and appropriately. If you would like to brand your forms library, if this is okay with the association and the state that you put your branding on the forms and contracts, if you deliver us your company logo, logos at Internet Solutions, we'll brand the forms library. So every time one of your agents creates a form or types one up or prints one out, it's going to have your logo on it. We do offer custom forms programming services. So if you have interest or forms, custom office forms that you require your agents to use, we can program and post those. I would encourage you first to follow up with the association. I think there's some incentives to program and post your custom office forms for the first 60 days of go live. But forms at Instinet Solutions, you can submit your forms to us. We'll review them. We'll contact you with quotes and questions and move forward with that programming process. I'm going to ditch this website for a moment here. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to replace it with sales and support number that you might find more valuable. 800-668-8768 is our toll-free sales and support. Same number, different option. But if you have what just happened questions or why isn't this working questions, they're a good call for that. If you have a how do I question, I know that's for webinars and follow-up webinar sessions. Or our YouTube. Certainly YouTube, we have all of our probably 85 or 90 videos on there, everything from a 1 to 5 minute how do I. There's a playlist for the broker compliance, a 10 or 15-minute webinar on setting up and seeing the workflow for that broker compliance reports and so forth. So YouTube for 1 to 5 or 10-minute, all the way up to 60-minute overviews. Otherwise, I will remain available for at least 5 more minutes to answer questions through that go-to training sidebar. If you have them, please do type them in. I will respond directly to them. You type me the question, I'll type back the answer. And until we webinar again, I hope you have a tremendous